right, welcome to the PTW podcast. This is episode 3, and ladies and gentlemen, it is week 1 of the NFL. It is finally here, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Tassi, the football Greek,
What's
the
going
fantasy
on?
guru, the 49ers hardcore fan who must be very happy today because Trent Williams signed his extension with the 49ers, and so you guys are locked in. You got Ayuk locked in. You got
Yep.
Williams locked in.
Yep.
Everyone's paid. Everyone's happy for the time being. So let's see what they do.
Restructured.
There you go.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Everything's kind of falling into place week 1. So that's awesome for the Niners.
Everything's working out in 49ers land. But yeah, this is we got an exciting episode because in a few days, the NFL season officially kicks off with a Thursday night game. We're going to talk about that in detail. A Friday night game, the first time that the NFL is doing a Friday night kickoff game in week 1. And then a slew of games on Sunday. We'll kind of go through some of our favorites from that schedule for Sunday. And then we'll preview the Monday night game that Tossie is actually going to of the Jets and the Niners at Levi Stadium.
Be a good one.
A lot to unpack for this episode. If you're excited for the NFL season, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all year talking about all the games as much as we possibly can, and also repping our favorite teams. Tossie, the 49ers fan, myself, the Miami Dolphins fan. So
got the new Shanna hat.
Here we go. Here we go,
the
man.
Shanna hat for the year.
The Shanna hat. It is Thursday night preview. We've got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, taking place at Arrowhead. This is an unbiased show, Tossie. This is an unbiased show.
All right. I'll try to be.
Taking on an unbiased show. There we go.
I'm ready.
Taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is interesting, right? Because last season, the Chiefs started out the season with a loss against the Detroit Lions at home in Arrowhead. Shocked the football world. Everyone was so surprised as to where did that come from? It set the stage for an incredible season that the Lions had. So my question to you, I think Casey has something to prove for this game, but this is also somewhat of a revenge game for the Baltimore Ravens, for Lamar Jackson. So my question to you is this a must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens? It's week 1, right? But
I think it's, whenever it's a rematch of a championship game, you want to make a statement. So, I mean, we're talking about Lamar was the MVP last year. They had the best record. They made a statement Christmas Day against the Niners. They're all set to go to the Super Bowl again. And he, basically crept to bed. So, I think at this point it's he needs to come out and week 1 start off on a good note, go out and show them how the season's going to go, and get a good win against the Chiefs on opening kickoff night, Thursday night.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it happens. I think KC doesn't lose 2 home openers in a row, coming off of back-to-back Super Bowls. Most of the team intact, coming back. Patrick Mahomes is always. I mean, at this point, he's someone I don't bet against.
It's hard. It's hard to bet against him.
It's hard, and I think the line right now is and we'll get into odds and stuff in a little bit, but I think the line right now is -3, and so I see KC covering that. I actually don't think this game will be that close. I think maybe in the first half it will, but I think in the second half, I think KC kind of runs away with it. Because Baltimore's kind of a question mark at the moment. Derrick Henry, very excited about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got some new pieces here, some new weapons.
They got some new pieces. Yeah.
I mean, you get Derrick Henry on your team now, and you got Lamar. Who's gonna run the ball? Lamar always likes to keep the ball. He'll always pull it out and run with it. So let's see if he gets used to now I'm going to be handing the ball off a lot more because I got Derrick Henry running the ball. Yeah. And not someone I know Gus Edwards, he's decent, but he's not Derrick Henry. So You know that
No, Derrick
I
Henry is
think
a
he.
huge addition to that offense. Huge addition. I think he's still got a lot of miles left. I think he's got a lot of tread left. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think, in my opinion, especially with a physical team like the Ravens. He's
Hmm.
going to complement them. He's going to complement them so well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I just, for whatever reason, there my gut's telling me that this is Casey's game to lose, right? I think
hmm,
they hold the cards as far as whether or not they win this game. It's at home, season opener, coming off of back-to-back Super Bowl wins, on the quest for three in a row, heavily favored by pretty much every pundit to go back to the Super Bowl and repeat.
yeah,
Uh, and again, yeah, history says that they lost their home opener last year against the Lions. That was a
yeah.
huge surprise. Um,
They don't lose a lot
I
at Arrowhead,
yeah, I
and
don't think it's
especially
gonna.
on opening. So
I
yeah,
don't think
it's going to
I
be
don't
a
think it's gonna happen
tough
again.
one.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, nonetheless, football is back. Week one, Thursday night game. What a game
Yeah,
to start off with.
yeah, great game.
Ravens and Casey. That's a great. I mean, the
Yeah,
NFL schedule makers this year, like chef's kiss with a lot of the stuff that they put
yeah.
together.
They're
I
like, oh
mean,
yeah, we know what we're doing.
we know what we're doing. I mean, having that be the first game, having the first Monday night game be Aaron Rodgers again with the Jets on Monday night
Yeah,
again to see if he can, get past week one.
yeah,
Hell, to get past series one of week one. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening. But
yeah.
Thursday night is not the only game that's happening, right? Before Sunday, we've also got
Hmm.
a Friday night game, which is crazy. The Packers taking
Hmm.
on the Eagles, NFC North versus NFC East. This is an
Yeah.
intriguing game because this is the quarterback class, if I'm not mistaken, where both Jordan Love and
Jalen Hurts.
thank you, and Jalen Hurts were taken in the same draft, right?
Hmm.
Jordan Love in the first round, Jalen Hurts in the third round.
Yeah,
So this is interesting, right? Like Jalen Hurts has
yeah.
been to the Super Bowl, he's been to the Promised Land, didn't win, very close, arguably the MVP of that game,
Hmm.
of that Super Bowl. I mean,
It was a
he
nice little well-timed PI there.
yeah, he played lights out in that Super Bowl. I don't think I'd ever seen a player
Yeah,
play like that in a Super Bowl. He did left nothing like he put everything out there, right?
yeah. No,
And
he did.
then and then Jordan Love, right?
Yeah,
Years and
he's on
years
the come
of
up.
yeah, years and years of is this guy good enough? Did the
Hmm.
Packers, draft him too early? Blah blah blah. And here you go, just got his contract
Yeah,
extension. Everyone's
had a
really
breakout
excited about Green
season.
Bay. Everyone's really excited about Green Bay. I saw some power rankings this morning that shocked me. I saw Green Bay at 8. And I was
Hmm.
like, "Wow, really? Like that's
Yeah,
that's the consensus?" What are you thinking
it.
about this game?
I like the Eagles this game
Mm,
because not only the Eagles, they also upgraded at running back. They got Saquon Barkley now, so I mean that's a
mm-hmm.
another
Huge
huge
pickup.
pickup for a running back, of that caliber going to a new team, especially because with the offense they already had there. Now you got AJ Brown, and Saquon, and Jalen, and Devontae Smith. You got all kinds of weapons, and Dallas Goddard, even their tight ends, pretty good players.
Yeah.
So I like the Eagles' offense. I think is going to have a much better season than they did last year. And we're talking. I mean, they started off the season last year like what 10-0,
They were
and
killing it
then
last year, yeah.
they got destroyed by the Niners, and it kind of like went all downhill.
Little jab in
Yeah,
there.
bang. Yeah,
Yeah.
all you Philly fans. Yeah, so you know what's happening. So I do think they're going to be the team to beat in the NFC East. I think they're going to come out strong. The Packers. I feel like Jordan Love had a really good season. Breakout season. Essentially, he earned himself a new big contract. They have a ton of like young receivers, Jaden Reed and Christian Watson and Dontarius Wicks. And they got a lot of players on offense, and they got Josh Jacobs now too as
Mm-hmm.
at their a running back. So another running back that's changed
Right.
places and is
Yep.
led the league in rushing just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So we're talking another potent offense here.
It's
So it's
exciting,
gonna
right?
be
And
a
like
yeah.
and it's it's Matt LaFleur, right? Like what can he do with these new pieces that he's got?
Yeah.
What kind of trickery can he come up with? Offensive mastermind. And I think he's shown post Aaron Rodgers that it wasn't just Rodgers that was like making them relevant while he was coaching, right? Like he's actually
Yeah.
shown with
He
Jordan
earned it.
Love,
Hmm.
he's more than competent
Yeah,
to lead the team
for
to
sure.
success. We'll see where that goes. I don't yeah, because of the game is at Philly, I'll take the
Yeah.
Eagles as well.
The Eagles are
I
going to win
think
that game.
I think that's really the only thing. Home field advantage, I think, is a thing specifically
Oh yeah, an opening.
at the beginning of the
Yeah.
season, right? Opening game, like
Hmm.
people are just super excited, right?
Yeah.
The crowd's gonna be
Gonna be
nuts.
pumped.
Yeah, so
And
I'll
Philly's tough, man.
yeah, Philly. No,
they're
they're a good team.
they're mean.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fans.
the fans. Yeah, no disrespect to the fans, but I've seen some videos, and I will. I have no interest in going to a game in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
No thanks.
Especially
Cheesesteak,
if I'm
however.
sure if I'm especially rooting for like the opposing team, I'm just not going there.
Yeah.
Um, okay, but that's so Thursday night. We're both picking Kansas City to beat Baltimore.
Yeah.
Friday night, we're both picking the Packers to beat. I'm sorry, we're both
To
picking the Eagles
lose.
to the Packers to lose to the Eagles. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we've got a whole slew of games that are coming up for week one here.
Hmm.
So let's talk about some of the matchups that we're excited for week one. Um, I mean,
So
yeah, go right ahead. Go.
yeah. So I mean, I really am excited to see what the Texans and the Colts. You got the two
Yeah,
dynamic young rookie. Not rookie anymore, but the young second year quarterbacks and
yeah,
Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud. So that's the game I'm really excited to see, and see kind of like that new Texans offense. Like it's going to be dynamic. With Stroud and Stephon Diggs now. Then you
yeah.
got Tank Dell coming back from injury, and you got the guy, I always forget his name. The other receiver that they got the third guy, but and then they also now have Joe Mixon at running back. So
Yeah,
they're going to be a very exciting offense to watch all year long. So,
yeah.
like I said, CJ Stroud's my pick for MVP this year. I think he's going to have a monster year.
On that same power rankings that I saw this morning, they had the Texans like high. They had them like
Hmm.
at 6 or
Yeah,
7.
yeah,
I think people are really getting on the hype train
yeah.
for the Texans,
Hmm.
and barring any injury or anything crazy, I think that team has a lot of promise. It's interesting to me as I'm looking at the schedule. That
Yeah,
Texans Colts game is one of only 3 games that are interdivision games.
yeah,
You've got Texans Colts, Panthers Saints, and Raiders Chargers. That's it.
yeah,
And the rest of
yeah,
the schedule is are teams that don't play each other, that aren't in the same divisions or anything like that. So that's kind of interesting.
yeah.
Um, for me, I harped on this in a previous episode, but I'm really excited to see what the Chargers look like. Um,
That's right.
that
Against
105
the
game
Raiders.
against the Raiders. Granted, the Raiders, huge question mark right now. Who knows what they'll be like. I know you drafted Devonte Adams on your fantasy team,
I
so
did.
you're excited
I
to see
did.
what
I was
happens
like poo
there
pooing him, and you're like, but he fell in our draft to like the fourth round. Like nobody was really into drafting him. So I was like, yeah,
because
this is a value right here in the board.
someone needs to get him the ball, right? And
Yeah.
like there's not a whole ton of faith. Gardner Minshew, more than capable quarterback, but not a superstar quarterback by any
Yeah.
means. He's always in the headlines for one reason or another, in
Yeah.
a good way. But
He'll be serviceable, I think. I mean,
he serves he's a stopgap quarterback, right? Until the
yeah.
Raiders figure out their long-term solution. They thought it was going to be
And
Jimmy Garoppolo. That didn't work out, right?
and he filled in well in Indy last year. I mean, he had a after Richardson got hurt. I mean, he did well.
Yeah, I
He
think
still like had them competing.
he's gone, he's done a decent job.
Yeah.
He's just not upper echelon, right?
No, he's
Maybe
kind of just a solid
he's
backup QB.
mid-tier. He's
Yeah.
a mid-tier quarterback, and that's that. There's no
Yeah.
shame in that. But maybe what's it called? Maybe Devonte Adams elevates him. Who knows, right?
Yeah,
we'll
I
see. We'll
mean,
see.
you got a guy like Devontae Adams that you could throw to. I mean,
Yeah,
probably at his peak, one of the, like probably a Hall of Fame type
yeah,
of wide receiver. So,
yeah.
you know, he's going to make any quarterback better, except
But
maybe Jimmy Garoppolo.
to see Jim Harbaugh, I know, right? To see Jim Harbaugh back on the sidelines to me is gonna be very exciting. And I'm like, I'm really interested in what that team's gonna look like, man. Like
Yeah,
what are they? Granted, it's week one.
yeah.
There's a lot of football to be played, but
It's an
what?
interesting lineup, because they have kind of like this turnover. They took Baltimore's, backfield basically, and Gus Edwards and J.K.
Yep,
Dobbins,
yep,
and brought him over, and then they lost their receiving core basically, and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and they still have Josh Palmer, and they drafted Lad McConkey,
hmm,
and so, we'll see kind of, and I know they drafted Quentin Johnson last year, so we'll see who kind of steps up for them offensively. But it'll be interesting to see, as it plays out. I know that they have the rookie Vidal too, who's supposedly might be a good back. So we will see kind of how that plays out over the season.
I'm telling you, man, they excite me.
Yeah,
Another game on the schedule that kind of piques my interest a little bit. Usually a game that I would not care less about, but given the circumstances, Tennessee at Chicago. Um,
interesting.
Caleb Williams's,
Hmm.
debut, well, not
Debut.
really debut, but like, he's played a little bit here in the preseason, right? But his debut in a regular season game at home in Chicago against Will Levis. Maybe
Will
he's
Levis.
great,
Yeah,
maybe he's not. Maybe, he lit the Dolphins
yeah,
on fire, freaking
yeah.
coming back from a 15-point deficit and winning the game, thus kicking Miami out of the driver's seat for the AFC East.
That was a
But
tough game.
yeah, I'm not bummed about that at all. I'm not bitter at all. But it's one of those things where I'm very interested in where uh, Tennessee is headed, right?
Hmm.
Post Derrick Henry, post Mike Vrabel, right? Like
Yeah.
what kind of direction are they tanking? Are they not tanking? Are they moving for like what is this going to look
I
like,
mean, they
right?
just signed Calvin Ridley to a big deal. They got
Yeah,
DeAndre Hopkins still,
yeah,
Tony
yeah,
Pollard, another
yeah.
free agent acquisition. So
I'll be honest. When oh my God, you just said his name and I completely forgot it.
Tony
The wide
Pollard,
no, the wide receiver.
oh, Calvin Ridley,
No, the other one.
DeAndre
The one they
Hopkins, or
When
Nico
DeAndre Hopkins
Collins, the guy from the Texans that I keep forgetting about. I remember his name now. Now I know his name.
when Hopkins signed with Tennessee, that was like a head scratcher for me. I
Yeah,
was like, because I think he like had kind of
purgatory for
carte
him.
blanche. He had like carte blanche
Yeah,
to kind of go where he wanted to go, and he went to and I was like, Tennessee,
yeah,
really? Like I thought he was kind of like he was hunting for a team to like win a championship with. So again, I'm
yeah.
interested in seeing what Tennessee will look like, and there's a lot. I mean, I think I saw one pundit like predict that Chicago's going to go to the Super Bowl this year, which is I think that's like a Chicago homer. I'm not quite sure,
I mean,
but I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued by
definitely.
that team.
I
Yeah.
mean, they got DJ Moore coming back. Then they picked up Keenan Allen. They got DeAndre Swift from the Eagles now to be their head lead running back. So they got a lot of weapons too. And now Cam Williams he's legit, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna probably be the best rookie quarterback, I would say.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
talked about, like you know besides him, there's some other guys, but he was a number one pick for a reason. Like usually those guys, if they're gonna be starting right away, they're gonna be money. So I think it'll
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Just see what color he paints his nails for the first game.
Chicago is quite happy with Carolina at this moment in time. Do you have any other games that you're excited about with week one? I think that Sunday night game is
Yeah,
going to be interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
The Sunday night game, the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams. So that should be an exciting, high-scoring game. I expect that the game to be one of those like offensive, like firework type of Sunday night games. It's going to be
Hmm.
awesome to watch. You got,
Yeah.
I know that Naku has kind of been, Puka has been dealing with a little bit of an injury, but I know Cooper Cup's healthy now, and you got Kyron Williams and Blake Gorham, and Matt Stafford's healthy. So, the Rams are going to have their offensive weapons, and Detroit, they got Jameer Gibbs, they got Dave Montgomery, and You know, I know the one break on St. Brown, right? So
Yep.
the one breakout guy that everybody's talking about is Jameson Williams, being the kind of like the breakout player. Like I was reading that there's all the, some of the GMs or like the scouts, they're kind of like picking him to be the breakout. They do those like surveys that are anonymous, so no one put their name on it, but
Right.
they picked him as a guy to be a breakout player this year. So we'll see how it goes. And then they got the tight end Sam Laporta, so in his second season. So
Yeah.
Detroit's got a lot of weapons. Jared Goff, he's a decent quarterback, man. He did it in LA. He took him to a Super Bowl. He
Yeah.
almost took Detroit to a Super Bowl last year. He was a half away. But the guy's local kid from around here. He went to Marin and high school, and he's a he's a he's a player, man.
Yeah.
He he.
I would agree with that.
A lot of
I think he's
disrespect, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think he's more than decent. He's shown it's hard. We've talked about this where we talked about how difficult it is for specifically a quarterback to go from one team to another and have success. The ones that do that are like the Hall of Famers. They're the Peyton Mannings. They're the Tom Brady's. They're the Joe Montanas. It's rare to hop from one team to the next and have continued success. Brett
mm-hmm.
Favre did it in Minnesota, not so much New York. He had success in Minnesota.
Yeah,
It's for Jared Goff to have a situation where he takes the Rams to the Super Bowl, loses against the New England Patriots in a very low scoring game. The Rams get an opportunity to get Matthew Stafford, and they go, "Sure, let's swap this
yeah,
out." And Jared Goff being the afterthought of that trade,
I know.
like the focus of that trade was, "Oh my God, the Rams are getting Stafford. Oh, and by the
Yeah,
way, the Lions are getting Goff."
it did
And
pay off though. They
and
did win a Super Bowl, but
absolutely. No, for Matt, no, for the Rams, it absolutely paid off. I think it was the right move. Matthew Stafford gets a much deserved Super Bowl win, in my opinion. I think he was one of those players that was all you knew he was great. He just wasn't in a great situation.
mm-hmm.
Um, so, unfortunately, a common story amongst players that played for the Detroit Lions over the years, right? Like
Yeah,
Megatron and Barry Sanders, etc.
yeah,
But what a story, right?
yeah,
For Dan Campbell and Goff to get together and just elevate this, right?
yeah. No, for
Um,
sure.
there's one more
I
game. There's one more
definitely
game,
agree.
and that's the Monday night game.
The
There's a
best
Monday
game
night
of the
game, right?
week.
So
Dun, 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 dun.
the Aaron Rodgers led New York Jets coming back to Monday Night Football, um, at Levi's to play. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers will run out with the American flag.
No, man.
Well,
He
I
he.
think that was a September 11th thing, so I understand why he did that.
Yeah,
But it's just it's what I can't help but feel sorry for the guy. Like just after all of this back and
it's rough.
forth and start with a new team and so much promise, and as a Jets fan, well, I'm not a Jets fan, but if you were a Jets fan, to be like, this is it. We got Rodgers. Like we're going, and 4 plays in, it's like, are you kidding me? I don't think I'd ever seen that before in my life. And
Yeah,
what a test, man, to come back and have him come and play against inarguably, I think in my opinion, the best team in the NFC. So
yeah.
what does that look like?
It's gonna be a great game. The
I
Niners got all their guys back. They
Yeah.
signed Big Trent like we talked about. They signed Brandon. I
Yep.
mean, obviously the news with Ricky Pearsall was
Yeah.
tough.
And we'll
Oh,
get into that. We'll get into that
yeah,
in a second.
but as far as the roster they do have, they have like those free salary cap
Mm-hmm.
roster though. They got stars at every position, all pros at
Mm-hmm.
every position. I mean, they're so stacked. Their roster's so stacked. I really believe that they had the best team last year and they should have won the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it didn't go their way, and they lost in overtime. But again this year, I think they're gonna be there in the end, and they're gonna make another run. They got all their guys back. They got them all signed. Everybody's just got to stay healthy now, essentially, and they just got to play their game, their brand. and hopefully they'll get Trey Greenlaw back at some point this season. But I know that I think D Winters won that starting job as far as the other middle linebacker. So he showed up in camp. A lot of people were comparing him to like Navarro Bowman, the way he's number 53, running around there, and like a callback to another great 49er linebacker. But I think they have everything that they need to dominate this year again. And I'm expecting them, like I said, to win at least 12 games this year,
Yep.
and be the number one seed in the NFC. I think them and Philly are going to kind of be the two top dogs this year, and then we'll see who gets the top seed. But yeah, I expect them to come out and be ready to beat Aaron Rodgers, because they usually do.
They usually do. I don't think this game is close.
Really?
I
So you
don't.
think you're calling a blowout, like
I think the
steamroll?
Niners will steamroll the Jets. I don't think that it's going to be like 42 to nothing. No, but
Mm-hmm.
but I think, a healthy 27 to 7 is like a good score in my opinion. Like that
Wow.
I don't think the game gets close, to be honest with you. I
Really?
think
So you
yeah, I
think that
think
highly of the Niners defense? Is that? I mean, I know that
yeah.
the Jets they have a lot of weapons on offense. I mean, with Rodgers, got Garrett Wilson, they've got Brees Hall, who everybody is saying he's like the second best running back, behind McCaffrey this year, as far as fantasy purposes, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're gonna have a good offense, but the Niners are the number one ranked defense, and I know that they do have a lot of players coming back. Pretty much the whole defense is coming back except at safety. They're still waiting for Hufanga to come back.
Yeah.
But they had Jared Brown feeling really well last year, and then they've got the corners, Travarius Ward and Diamador Lenore is playing really well right now. So I expect, it's probably going to be a tough game, but I think they'll score more than 7. I think the Jets will probably get 14 to 17 points, but
Do
the
you
Niners will
do you
score close to
remember
30.
do you remember
Yeah.
this is I'm going to talk about basketball for a second.
All
Do
right.
you remember when the Lakers had built this like dream team of sorts? It was
Mm-hmm.
Kobe, it was Steve Nash, it was like I forgot who
Yeah, I
the
know what
rest
you're
of the
talking
lineup
about, like
was. It was
Gary
like
Payton.
it was
Like,
like
yeah, it was a red. Yeah,
all
Malone.
stars,
Malone,
five all
right?
stars
Was it Malone?
as like their starting lineup, right?
Yeah,
And
I
everyone
remember.
was like, "Oh my God, Steve Nash and Kobe and this person and that person, like all on the team together." And it didn't work out
Yeah,
because the chemistry wasn't there.
yeah,
I've said this before. I'm going to continue to say this until Aaron Rodgers and the Jets make me eat my words. I'm not convinced. Not necessarily because of Aaron Rodgers' talent. I think the dude is super talented,
yeah,
but I think the core of the Jets, as far as like the organization, is not set in the right way. And I think that just by piecing stuff together, like piecemealing, okay, let's get this receiver and this running back and this thing. Okay, Rodgers wants this offensive lineman and
Do you
this.
think Saleh's not a good head coach?
I think
I know
Saleh's a
he's a good
great coach.
D.
I think he's a great head coach
Okay.
who got dealt a bad hand because, to be honest, it feels kind of like a Tom Brady situation where like Tom Brady ran the show in Tampa Bay and the later
Mm-hmm.
years of New England. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is running the show.
Yeah.
I think Saleh's there to make sure the defense is legit, and I think he has very little input on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my opinion. Like that's what I think is happening there. And
Yeah.
it's just not healthy, right? And so you have a very well run organization like the 49ers. Shanahan and Lynch are completely in sync. That team is, that they're in it to win now. The Jets are trying to do that, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I
Yeah.
don't know why I don't see it. I can't pinpoint why I don't see it, but there's something about it that I'm like, I'm not convinced. I know it's like the sexy thing because it's a New York market team and it's the Jets
Yeah.
and it's Aaron
Oh yeah.
Rodgers
Mm-hmm.
and it's
There's
all of these things,
a lot going
but
on there.
it's one thing to like build a dream team
Hmm.
Okay. It's another thing to make them all be on the same page and work together and have reps
Yeah.
together and do this. Not to say that like I don't expect them to have a good season. I expect the Jets to have a decent season. I expect them to be 9-8, 10-7, but I don't expect 11, 12, 13, 14 wins. I don't expect a Super Bowl run. I don't expect any of that.
Hmm.
Again, I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's not where I'm seeing it right now. This is not me like as a Dolphin fan slash Jets
I
hater.
hate
I'm
hating
not. I'm legitimately
Chad
just
Pennington.
I don't see it. At least for this week, I don't see it. I don't see. I'm telling you, I think that game is going to be one sided. I personally do. Maybe it's even, at the end of the first half, maybe it's kind of close, neck and neck, and then I think the Niners just run away with it in the second half.
Yeah,
That's my
Niners
personal.
are a good second half team last year. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of first halves that are pretty like close, like ten
yeah,
seven
yeah.
type of thing, and then they
And
score
then
on
they
30 like every
adjust,
work. Yeah.
and they
Hmm.
adjust, and they run away with it.
Yeah.
We're on the topic of the Niners. We'll
Hmm.
continue talking about the Niners. You alluded to it a little bit. So the rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall um, involved in an altercation in Union Square. Reportedly, was wearing his Rolex. Someone came up to
Yeah.
him and was trying to snatch it off him. He tried to defend himself. His instincts kind of came, kicked in. Got
Hmm.
shot in the chest. Miraculously, he's fine.
Yeah.
But he is on the non-football injury list. He's out for the
Yeah.
first 4 games of the
Hmm.
season.
So
Give me your thoughts on all this.
that story is amazing, man. That he survived, and now he's actually was working out today.
Mm,
He came to the practice and
yep.
was in the facility working out after getting shot pretty much, and like from the interviews that I saw, like with the police officer who basically saved his life, she was talking about how she put her hand on his chest and like looked him in the eye and told him to breathe, and like he he miraculously was not struck in any vital organs, and basically
Incredible.
walked away from getting shot in the chest, which is amazing.
Walked himself to the ambulance, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I posted a video on my social media
Yeah.
of that, and then some other things there that went on. Like we have like a lot of good coverage about it. Obviously because we're local, so we kind of get to hear like the more intimate details about it that were like that are like heart like make it a better story, right? Like
Yeah.
the guy like was able to walk away with something like so traumatic.
Right.
So that's that's great news for him and his career, and hopefully he'll be able to get back out on the field like week 5. When he
Yeah.
comes off
It
the injury list.
it's a miraculous story. It shows the
Yeah.
toughness of Pearsall.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and again, that instinct kind of kicks in, like, oh, like someone's trying to take this from me. I better, try to defend myself and
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. I know.
Conventional wisdom, hindsight, right? Hindsight is a
So
thing
hard.
where like
Just like here,
you
take
said,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
hindsight should be take it.
Yeah.
I'll deal with this myself.
It's so
Uh,
hard in that moment. Like you
and
just
no,
don't
of
know.
course, I'm not saying
Like
he did anything wrong. That's a
yeah.
hindsight thing,
Yeah.
right? Like that's one
Mm,
of those things of like, as you get
yeah.
older, as you
Yeah.
mature,
You're
you
like
realize, hey,
you're
there's
like
stuff more
yeah.
important in life
Hmm.
than my Rolex, whatever. Well, I
Yeah.
think I think the value of it was something pretty ridiculous, but he's just like
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's got a great end. It's got a happy ending, which is nice.
Yeah.
He's only out for
Yeah.
the first 4 weeks, as opposed to the
Yeah.
season, as opposed to losing his life. So that's
Yeah.
a huge thing. Week
Yeah.
five, when he comes back and plays, I think he's going to get a huge ovation, regardless of where the
Yeah.
Niners are playing week 5. Are they home or
Yeah.
away in week 5?
Let me think. I've got to think about this. So the Niners they got the Patriots, and I think they got the Cardinals. I want to say in week 5 at home.
At home. So
So
that's going to be
yeah,
huge,
because they
right?
got they week 1's against the Jets, then they got 2 away games, one with the Rams, and I think with Minnesota, and then they've got New England at home, which is week 4, and then so week 5 is with Arizona at home. So yeah, hopefully he'll be suited up that game, and we'll be able to get him. I'll be there. Give him a standing ovation. He could just because just to show that support for somebody who went through something so traumatic. So
Absolutely.
hopefully he'll be able to play and get a catch pass or a touchdown or something. That'd be great. So
Okay. If you've enjoyed our podcast episode so far of the PTW podcast, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. As we grow with long form content like this one, also individualized videos per topic that we're talking about, as well as shorts. You can follow us on social media. We have an Instagram page now, so you can follow us on Instagram. And we'll get our X and other platforms up and running as soon as possible. We've got one more topic before the slew of games on Thursday, and it's a big one, right? So this is predicting way too far in the future, right? But the magic question is, who's winning the Super Bowl? First off, which teams are going to the Super Bowl, and who's winning the Super Bowl? And I know
yeah,
you're going to do your absolute best not to be biased and not to be a
I know,
homer and not
I know.
automatically put the Niners in there. Winning the whole thing. This might be the year though. I wouldn't blame you if you picked them. I'll go first because I have an assumption of where you're going.
Yeah,
For me, listen, I'm a Dolphins fan. I can sit here and puff my chest and say the Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl this year. It's happening. But I realistically don't see it. I have a huge soft spot for that team. I believe in Tua Tagovailoa. I think Tyreek Hill is obviously in his prime. I think Jalen Waddle is just hitting his prime. We're getting key players on defense back. We're getting all the pieces from our running game back last year, plus the addition of Jalen Wright. OBJ, if he actually ever plays for the
yeah,
Dolphins this
it's
year, will be a nice addition. Jonnu Smith is a great addition at tight end. Calais
yeah,
Campbell is a great addition at defense. I'm excited for the year. I don't see it as a Super Bowl team unless everybody stays healthy, and that is a tough thing to do. I've talked to a couple friends of mine about this. I am emotionally not going to get invested in Dolphin games until December because that's when they usually drop the ball. Winning in games in September and October, great. That's fine.
but week two.
That's the norm. They need to win week 2 against Buffalo. That needs to happen. um, but they win games in September, October, cool. Win some games in November, cool. I need to see you win in December. I need to see you go into Cleveland week 17 where it's cold as hell and win. I need to see you pl- don't even win, but at least put up a fight against the Niners in week 16 in
Yeah,
Miami,
that's
right?
a
If
big
they
game.
win, awesome. I'll
We
be on
should
this
go to that
podcast.
game.
I'll be on this podcast like pointing at you and saying ha 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 if we win. We do, but but like that's my expectation. Win some games in December, win a playoff game in January, then I will rah as much as I possibly can. But long story short, I don't see anyone unseating the Chiefs in the AFC. The Bills got weaker. I don't see, like I've talked about, I don't see the Jets doing it. I don't see. Yeah, I know you love the Texans. I don't see it at the moment. Maybe next
Yeah,
year, but I don't see it this year. Um, I see KC going to the representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. I think it's a rematch, dude. I think it's KC Niners. I really do. I really
oh
do.
man,
And I think Shanahan finally gets the monkey off his back this year. I think the Niners win it. If it's the Niners and Chiefs again, I think Shanahan will coach the game of his life. I
at some point
especially
it's
if
just got
everyone's
to
still,
click, man. You just
yeah,
got to
if
stop
everyone
like
if
play
everyone's
coaching
healthy,
scared
again,
and
everyone's
just
healthy. Purdy, imagine Purdy winning a championship and his agent coming to the Niners desk like
65.
the next day or so, like, so let's talk about being the first $60 million
Yeah.
a year quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
What a
Yeah.
story that is for Mr. Irrelevant. So, um,
You got
that's what I think. If
called
I'm
the
being realistic, if I'm
ABC
being
execs up
yeah,
for
if I'm being
that
realistic,
Disney movie.
if I'm being realistic, I think it's Chiefs Niners, and I
Okay.
think Niners win. That's my
Well,
those are my predictions. What do you think?
that's amazing. I'm really
I
I'm
surprised
really
you, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know you were
I'm
gonna go
telling you,
there.
man, I'm approaching the
I feel
season
like
holistically this year. I am not putting on my hater hat or my homer hat. I'm wearing a red hat for God's sakes. I have to preface this. I am not a Niner fan, but I'm approaching the season from the aspect of like, what do I realistically think is going to happen?
yeah.
Not like
I mean,
a pie in the sky. This would be awesome if this happened. Realistically, I think it's Chiefs Niners.
yeah, I mean that's I can see that. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see Mahomes. I don't want to see him again. He gives me like anxiety. That guy, man. When I go to the game, and
You
I'll be
need
like,
Tums when you watch Mahomes
yeah,
play,
I
right?
do. I do, especially when it's against the Niners, because it's like, dude, like I don't feel comfortable, no matter like the score, like obviously the history of the first Super Bowl that they had a 10-0, 10-point
Yeah.
lead, and
This would be
fourth
the
quarter and they
third this would
blew
be
it.
the third matchup against the two
Yeah,
teams.
it would be.
This would be
And
the third
then
matchup.
last year, like they like dominated them the first half. They should have probably been up more than just, I think, what it was, at 10-0, or it was 10-3, I want to say. But uh, you know, man, it was tough, being there and witnessing that. But the Niners have the best roster again this year. And now that they signed all their guys,
Yep.
I do think they're gonna make a run again, and I think they'll be there
Hmm.
again. The
Who's
question
representing
is
the
who they're going to be
AFC?
playing.
Right.
Yeah,
Who's
and
representing
I
the
do
AFC?
not. I'm like one of those like synergy type of people. Like,
Okay.
they're in New Orleans again, and then it was about 10 years ago that they played Baltimore in New
You're thinking
Orleans for the
Baltimore.
Super Bowl. So I'm
Interesting.
thinking Lamar. He's going to lose Week 1 against the Chiefs, but then he's going to beat them in the AFC Championship. He's going to bring the Baltimore back against the Niners. So we're going to have a rematch of that Super Bowl.
What a story
And
that would be.
in the Superdome, no blackout this time, and the Niners will finally do it. That's my, I mean, like, I know I'm a big homer, but it's honestly like my belief that this is the year. Like, but I'm not going to the game this year, even though I feel like they're going to win. I'm going to watch it in the
No,
comfort of my
hey,
home
New
with
Orleans is a
friends.
great town,
It
man. New
is a
Orleans
great town. So it's
is
going
a
to be hard.
beautiful town.
It's going to be
I've
hard.
been there multiple
Yeah.
times. I've been
Yeah.
to the Superdome, not to watch a football game. I went there for WrestleMania, but it's a awesome.
Yeah.
I
I've
love New
never
Orleans.
been there. So
I
I'm
love New
like,
Orleans.
I'm on the fence. So you know what? Maybe I'll go.
You're
I'll
going.
probably end up going.
You're going.
I'm saying I'm not
100% you're
going now.
going.
I say I'm not going now.
The
Because, dude, like,
weather.
okay, just imagine being at the Super Bowl in
Hmm.
overtime.
Hmm.
And it's like I'm recording every like play, right? I'm recording every
Sure.
play
Right.
as Mahomes is driving. I'm like, if
Right.
the Niners just stop him, interception, fumble, something happened, fourth down,
Something.
Bosa, tackle him, something. I'm like just waiting, and then just bam, touchdown, corner of the end zone. He walks in,
He
basically
is the NFL's
it was.
version of Steph Curry, dude. He
He
is.
really is. Like,
He
I hate to
really
say it,
is.
but he's
He
like, and
absolutely is.
he like looks like him too. Like,
He
they
absolutely
have like
is the
a
NFL's version
similar
of Steph Curry.
look.
He is all favoritism aside, he
Yeah,
is easily the best player in the NFL at the moment, in my opinion, because he
at the
makes
moment he is.
stuff happen out of nowhere.
Yeah,
You know,
he is a
um,
magician.
I mean, he was hobbled up in those playoff games, man. He was injured and he was like waving the back quarterback away. He's like, no, I got this, I got this. He's like
Yeah,
playing basically on like one leg, you
he's
know?
crazy, man.
He's something else.
That guy's a gamer.
However, if it is KC Niners, I think Shanahan coaches the game of his life. If
Yeah,
it's a Niners Ravens, that's interesting, right? Because now it's not Jim
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh versus John
Yeah,
Harbaugh, but it is John Harbaugh, who's a very
yeah.
competent head coach, obviously.
And
Um,
last year the Ravens like kicked their butt on Christmas, so it'll be interesting to see. And the Ravens, obviously their revamped offense
yep,
with Derrick Henry
yep,
now, and then they
yep.
still got their awesome defense. So that would be a tough game, but I
Yeah.
think the Niners. I have a feeling that they're finally going to put it together. It's like, and honestly, this is their window to do it. They're not going to be able to sign all their players. They got some more guys, like, a lot of defensive guys that are going to be free agents next year. It's like the last year of their deal. They got to pay Purdy. They already paid all their offense. They don't have enough money to go around to keep this roster together. So this is like their chance, like with this type of stacked roster, where they have like all pros and like all these guys basically at every position, at cornerback, at safety, at linebacker. They got the best, one of the best tight ends. They got the best left tackle. They've got two of the best receivers. They've got the best running back. It's crazy. Like they're so stacked.
The ingredients are there.
They have to win it.
The ingredients are
absolutely
there.
They don't win it now. It's like, I don't know, man.
Tossie's going to freak out if it doesn't happen this year. Oh yeah, it's been 30 years. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
You know how long it's been for me?
Do this. What is it?
Nonetheless, listen, I am
ever. Oh, in the 70s, the perfect team.
They've won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Thank you very much. In 72 and 73.
Yes.
Right? Perfect season. Number
when
one.
were you born?
Exactly. That's why I said 30 years. Boo-hoo. Oh, poor you. You haven't seen your team win a Super Bowl in 30 years. At least you've seen them win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Week 1 is here. It's an exciting time. The NFL is back. We've got 18 weeks of football, 17 games per team. What are some of the matchups that you're looking forward to? Let us know in the comment section down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you get notified when we get new episodes and all that kind of stuff. Until next time, we'll be recording our next episode after Monday night. Did we agree on Monday night or are we doing Tuesday? Okay,
we're going to be doing a
live from Levi's Stadium post game. Both of us predicting Niners victory there. Post game.
Hopefully we'll be right.
Because it's gonna take Totsi a few hours to get out of that parking lot.
Yeah.
So we'll do a live post game talk, and then maybe we'll live stream that. Who knows? Maybe we'll figure that out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Until next time.
For sure, I'd be down.
Until next time, this has been the PTW podcast. Thank you so much for watching and or listening wherever you are. Have a great week. Enjoy week 1 of NFL, and we'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, football's back, baby.
Take care.